Hi, everyone. We will give everybody a couple minutes to get logged in and then we will get started. We were just talking behind the scenes about the heat waves and the large amounts of rain that we keep getting in southeastern Ohio. And I know that's a lot of places. Ossoff's living the dream in San Francisco, the cool Bay Air.
I gotta say that it is warmer than what it typically is. And so the heat wave is around the country for that matter.
Yeah. Then if you go just outside of San Francisco, though, the weather is completely different.
Yeah,
It's a
the microclimate.
microclimate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. No, I was in San Francisco City yesterday, and it was definitely warmer than what it usually is, which is very interesting.
Um, Cross Country Mortgage used to have a office in Walnut Creek, so I was
Mhm.
always amazed to go be in Walnut Creek and it'd be so hot, and then you'd make your way back to the city. It's like, oh my goodness, it's so cool. This is amazing. All right,
Billings,
one
Montana.
more minute. Wow. Yeah, we'll be in Dallas in August. We see that as a way to capture an audience, is to fit everyone in Dallas prime heat of the year and put you in air conditioning, and you won't want to go outside. So we'll have everyone held captive. Well, welcome everyone to the SIP, a space where conversation fuels connection, collaboration drives innovation, and industry leaders come together to tackle challenges. Just like catching up over coffee, the SIP is all about meaningful discussion that moves us forward. At TMC, we're committed to fostering a forward thinking environment where members thrive, grow, and make lasting impact. And a big thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us. Today's episode is a little bit different, and I've been looking forward to this one. We are introducing something brand new to TMC, the Mortgage AI Council. If you've been hearing that name around the network and wondering what it actually is, who is behind it, and why now, that is exactly what we're going to dig in today. Joining me are two people most responsible for making this happen. Amy Azarandia, of the Chief Compliance Officer of Click and Close. Congratulations on that move, Amy. They're lucky to have you. And the TMC, she's also a TMC Lender Board Vice Chair and our TMC Advocacy Committee Chair and the co-leader of the AI Council. Amy, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jody, thank you so much for the warm welcome. What I heard there is that I need to get a life outside of this.
No, we like you
No,
just how you are.
thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
And Asif Alam is the CEO of Active Comply. He's a member of the TMC Preferred Partner Advisory Council and AI Council member himself. And Asif is the one, it's a little bit your fault. So welcome.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for the opportunity and looking forward to the discussion. I think this is a very timely discussion because it's something that is in mind of everyone. So really looking forward to it.
Yep. And a quick bit of backstory why I said that this is Asif's fault is he and I were golfing in Scottsdale leading up to our February conference. And he was like, hey, why don't you start an AI council at TMC? And I was like, well, we can do that. And he's like, I'll help. So here we are. So let's start with the real question underneath all of this. Amy, what problem is the AI council actually solving for lender members that they may not be able to solve on their own?
Well, kind of like Asif just said, like I think every lender is facing the same challenges right now. And yes, it could be said that it's true that larger institutions have dedicated AI teams and more resources, but AI is moving faster than any of our organizations can really absorb. So, if you think about it, every week we're getting hit with another tool, another regulatory expectation, another webinar, white paper, or a vendor that's, promising to revolutionize everything that we know about mortgage lending. And, when I think about it, most of us, we're not struggling because we don't want to innovate. We're struggling because we're trying to separate the real opportunities from all the noise that's happening. And so the AI Council gives lenders a place to do just that, but together. So instead of every institution solving the same problem independently, we can learn from each other, collaborate, share our collective experiences, and then build practical governance that works specifically for our mortgage space.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to note that this is also for preferred partners as things are changing. We're trying to equip our preferred partners to be able to also better assist our lender members. Amy, we'll stay with you for a second. As the chair of our advocacy committee, what was the moment that convinced TMC that this needed to exist as its own council and not just an objective or an initiative inside of TMC advocacy?
Well, Jody, you're on the council with me. And one of the first priorities that we identified this year for the advocacy committee was AI and AI governance. Around the time, the beginning of this year, that was when Freddie Mac released the 1302.8, which became effective March 1st. So it was a pretty natural place for our advocacy committee to start. And even though we've now created that dedicated AI council, AI advocacy, I don't think will ever go away. Will absolutely remain an important issue, and we'll continue working with regulators and our industry partners. That said, pretty quickly it became obvious that this wasn't just a regulatory conversation anymore. It had become a real big business conversation. ASIF's coming to you on the golf course, people are coming to me, CIOs are talking to you, CEOs, our people are starting to dabble and play with AI. And it just became really obvious that every corner of our organizations were trying to figure out how to use AI responsibly. And that's when it became pretty clear that AI touched every part of our mortgage companies. And for that very reason, it needed its own dedicated forum. So when you came to me with Asif's idea, I remember talking to you and I'm like, no, no, like pretty easy. This needs its own space. This can't live in advocacy. And I think we both pretty immediately said that Aaron D was the right person to be the chair for the committee.
Yep, absolutely. And extremely passionate about AI, as most of us are, and just an incredible amount of energy, speaking of multiple jobs, to keep moving us forward. So we appreciate her. She's enjoying a couple of days off, so we'll be excited to have her back. And then also from where you sit, what were you seeing in the market that made you feel that this was something that was urgent that we needed to do today instead of wait and revisit it later in the year or even next year?
Yeah, and my point, Jody, when I came to you and what I'm seeing is that simply put, the gap does not wait for us to catch up. And I see the gap widening. It is to a point what Amy also mentioned earlier that the large bank and some of the independents already have dedicated AI and data science teams. They are absorbing failures and fine-tuning it, and sort of they are somewhat ahead of others. And my view is that the mid market or the community sized lenders are watching that gap grow every quarter. And to me, not because they lack good people or good ideas, because they do not have internal bandwidth or
Yeah.
dedicated resources to build that muscle on their own. Left alone, that gaps, I feel does not level out over time. So it compounds. And for that matter, I think what you are doing, and Amy and Erin, what you guys are doing, bringing this together, in my opinion, is incredible because it helps again from that gap perspective. And just to build on that, Jody, that what I would really feel, that we have achieved something usable. If a member does nothing but show up every next 6 months, here's what I want them to have actually have in hand, not just in concept first, and sort of an early draft of AI vendor evaluation scorecard, some kind of that thing, something they can bring into the very next vendor conversation. The sharpest question on that scorecard should be, has this vendor actually operated inside mortgage industry long enough to understand the workflow? Or are they simply wrapping a generic AI model around a lending use case with no real domain expertise? And to me, I'll just stop there for a second because to me, that is the biggest thing. There's so many AI companies that are propping up, and if one thing that people need to take away or one thing they need to work on is first look at the pedigree of the companies that you're working with, the vendors you're working with. Do they have the chops in the mortgage? And then are they building, because at the end of the day, AI is just another tool set. It's not
Yeah.
something totally different. So I'll stop there. And to me, that's very important. Rapper doesn't know your business, a partner
Yeah.
does. And partner is
Yeah.
really somebody who knows the mortgage industry.
Yeah, so one of the big questions that we get a lot from our lender members and things that they are vetting are LOSs. And I had a LOS RFP document that I have used over the years in looking at different types of technology, not just LOSs. And I used AI and said, hey, like, what now that AI is introduced, what are the things that we should also be asking, or should we be asking questions differently? And there were 20 additional questions that were added just to be able to, and try, I didn't give the AI any training before I shoved it in there, but I guarantee you, if I would have applied Fannie and Freddie framework, fair lending, Graham Leach Bliley, I probably would have had 50 more questions that we should be asking. And I think that that's important because if you don't know the questions to ask, you don't have to feel bad. Just join the AI Council and they're going to help you know what questions are appropriate and let you know what you're missing without pointing out the fact that you don't know. So I think just being involved in the community sets you further apart from those who are just choosing to bury their head in the sand. So we talk about a lot of governance, but Amy, the charter talks about serious work like governance framework and regulatory monitoring, but it also talks about surfacing creative, practical AI applications and the more fun and sexy as
Eric.
I always call it big fun and sexy, but the fun and sexy showcase side of things. Are those two things serving the same members, or do you feel that's for two different audiences?
I actually don't think they're different audiences per se. And, bear with me here, kind of walk through this path with me. The compliance officer, like me, they want to know it's safe. The CIO wants to know that it works. The COO wants to know it saves time and it brings efficiencies. And the CEO wants to know that it creates a competitive advantage. But at the end of the day, it's all the same AI, right? And so we're just coming at it from different perspectives. With a good governance program, we're simply just making sure that all of those questions get answered. Now, that said, under Erin's leadership, we've decided to take the council and divide it up into two little starter camps to get going. So, one is AI governance focus group. And then we have this other group that we are calling the fun and sexy focused group. And that will make sure that we're both evaluating new technology at the same time as developing dynamic governance and risk models.
No. And I do think like it's like the dynamic has to change inside of lenders. So I'm like a shiny object person, always have been, and always have wanted to be like the first to use it, to touch it. But I see where now we lead with like the compliance. And if someone's saying they're using AI, we probably need to make sure that it meets like what our requirements, our policies are and what the agency requirements are before we let people like me see the big, sexy new objects so that we don't get too far down a path and waste too many people at a company's time. So it's like the paradigm is shifting. Zooming out a little bit further, where do you want the council's relationship to go with, we see things coming out of MBA, MISMO, FHFA. So what do we want that relationship to be as we grow this?
So the first thing I want to say is that I don't think it's our job as an AI council, a TMC AI council, to create yet another framework. Frankly, the industry already has that through MISMO's awesome work and Frame. I think it's absolutely fabulous, and I thank MISMO for their hard work in creating Frame. And though we have NIST and we have ISO today, they can be applied to every different industry. The beauty of Frame is that it's a framework that may be built for mortgage lenders specifically. And in a perfect world, in my little perfect world, FHFA and the GSEs would recognize Frame in their policies, and it could be the governance gold standard for our industry. That would be a huge win. And then another one, Jody, which I've heard you talk about before. Today we have things like SOC 2 certifications to help lenders know that a tech tool is doing what they should be doing. But we don't have like a comparative AI cert that lets due diligence teams, sink their teeth in or rely on it. So how cool would it be if the GSEs, just like how they vet and approve other types of vendors, like verification tools, like income and assets, if they could vet and certify AI tools and we could have some level of protection or at least knowledge of best practices, that would be also amazing. So I think, no matter what, it's just keeping those conversations going with FHFA, the GSEs, MBA, MISMO.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that this is where it leads back to TMC also has a strong advocacy committee. And the advocacy committee is there, and we take things like that and can push them forward and advance them in our conversations with the agencies. And we also are in direct communication with MBA for advocacy and with the AI and are pretty much aligned. And we believe that TMC will represent all voices of our network, but very much we're aligned with the voices of other networks. And all of us together will be stronger in that messaging the more that we can align and push things forward for the industry. So, really excited about that. And also, what does success look like at fall conference in September compared to where we are today? I hope we have some advancements and big changes in the next 2 months.
Yeah, no, I agree, Jody, and I think let me just say that this is not a panel that talks. It's a council that ships, and that's the mindset we should have in here of what we are trying to do. And going back to your question, success in September is that, in my opinion, is that we are past the founding conversation and into a visible output. What I mean by that is that I want people walking the conference floor to have heard about the council from peer, not from a flyer, right? I mean, that's what success to me would be. I want the governance framework to be far enough along that we can show something concrete, not just describe an intention. So it's something, done and dust, of what exactly it is. And I want a real number behind engagement, whether that is member count, subcommittee participation, roundtable attendance, something concrete, so that we can build on that, on that very thing. And going back to the very core issue of AI, I'm a very big believer that the new technology that comes out right now, it happens to be AI, that our community is aware what that means, that we are just not going out and to your point, looking at the most shiny thing, but someone who understands the business. To me, that is very important, right? That um, people who have spent years in building deterministic guardrails understand where the reg liabilities actually sits, and then building AI on top of that. So let's that should be our first red card, that hey, are there new things that are just coming in, or have these people really do know what it is?
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have another stop before September at the ACT Tech Summit
Mm.
in that we were talking behind the scenes in August 12th and the 13th in the very cool Dallas, Texas. We are many of our AI Council members will be at the Tech Summit and having those discussions. And we are going to do a working group for the entire audience that is around what the AI Council is hoping to achieve. And that's something that is open to the entire industry, not just to our lender members. So if you're listening today and aren't a lender member and want to see what that looks like, get signed up. And then we have working groups set up for our conference, which is exclusive for our TMC lender members and preferred partners in September the 20th through the 22nd in Austin. So the conversation is going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to look to ways to incorporate the council into the everyday working lives and potentially working group of TMC. We'll have a board conversation or two before then. I know that there are lenders listening right now who want to get involved and are hesitant, maybe because of the regulatory uncertainty around AI itself. But Amy, what is the honest first step we should be taking as lenders just to
Come
start the
join us.
conversation?
No, I mean, you just said it, right? We're hosting a couple of roundtables. We have the Tech Summit in Dallas. We'll be doing our first roundtable, and then we'll also have a roundtable at our Austin conference in September. But if you can't make those in-person events, then that's fine. Just join our council. It's open to everyone. We're welcoming you in. And if you can't do that, well, then at least join us for some of our upcoming webinars. Erin has a vision of creating kind of like a six-part series. And we have a meeting coming up where we're going to be talking about our first of that six step series. And I think our first webinar will be circling around maybe creating an acceptable use policy and the first steps of an inventory list. So those are some tangible things that just by, tuning in, you can walk away with.
And
And
Jody, can I just add one thing, which is very important to
please.
Amy's point? The only wrong move here is staying on the sidelines when it comes to AI. Just a point. So any lenders who are listening in, please join us. Please help us in that thing. Sorry, not
And
to cut you off.
I will say, like a lot of times, people do bury their head in the sand, and this is not an opportunity to do that because, as Asif said earlier, like that gap continues to widen, and you don't want it to get so far out that choices are made for you. We talk a lot about what's happening in the industry today, and we talk about the vanishing middle with mergers and acquisitions, and it's ignoring AI is going to put you further behind, and then the market's going to start making your decisions, and you don't want that to happen, and you don't have to let that happen because you have there's probably what 20-ish people on the AI Council today that are participating that are willing to share information, share ideas to help point you in the right direction. So there's no excuse to sit it out. And if you've ever been to a TMC working group, it's the safest environment you could possibly to be in to say, I don't know. And it's like, I don't know is celebrated more than someone saying they think that they know everything. So it is a very comfortable and easy environment to get involved in. And before we wrap up, one last one for both of you. If someone only remembers one thing from our conversation today, what do you want it to be? Asif, we'll start with you.
My thing is that the train has left the station, that you need to be on it. Uh, and it's very important because again, I'll go back to my initial comment on the gap keeps on increasing. If you're not on it, you have to be on it. That's my one practical thing. So one thing, if you're taking away that, and we are here to help, right? So I think we'll talk a bit more on that later on also. But to me, please get on it. It will help you. This is something that is now part of who we are and what we are and how we run our businesses. So,
Yeah. And Amy, before you answer, we may have 2 minutes to take a question. So if anybody has a question and wants to pop it in the chat, we will try to cover that. But type fast because we'll go to that as soon as Amy answers what she would like for everyone to take away from today's conversation.
I think it's just, we want you to join us. TMC has always been collaborative. None of us have all the answers, but together we can figure out what responsible AI adoption looks like in mortgage lending.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see our preferred partners lean in. We have legal representation from two of our preferred partners, so I think that that's also important from Brody Gap and Claire Barber. Very giving of their time and information. Excited to have them there. And we have other preferred partners who are on the council because I think it's important because they have a technical expertise that is above and beyond what some of us do as lenders. So we're really excited to see them help us solve these problems as we move forward. And that's a wrap. It's been a great conversation, and I am genuinely excited about where this goes. A huge thank you to Amy and Asif, not just for joining us today, but for actually building things. The two of you and Aaron and others have been working tirelessly to get this off the ground. I can't tell you the number of text messages, how we conduct business on the weekends to try to bring this to all of you. So I really do appreciate all the time and effort that you've put into it, and to the TMC member. And this is on your radar. Reach out to your council chair or TMC directly to get involved. And this works. And this is what we are here for. This is what TMC's purpose is, and it's what the AI Council's purpose is. We'll be back next week on July the 21st at 2 p.m. Eastern for the entire industry as we've consolidated our lender members and LinkedIn Live. And we'll be coming live from the farm. Amy Bohr, who usually is curating this, she'll be right here beside of me. We'll do some computer switching out, which I'm excited to have she and the team to Grindstone. And if you're not yet a member and you want to explore membership, please reach out to me directly. We would love to have you. And cheers. And we'll see you next time on the SIP. Thank you again, Amy and
Thank
Asa.
you. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.